Hello and welcome back to another episode of Drams Delivered. Today we've got something really special that myself and John are very excited to talk to you about and definitely taste. It's something that's a highlight for us, I think, on the Drams Delivered calendar. So what have we got in front of us, John?
So today we are going to be trying a 14-year-old Glentauchers, which has been aged in a refill sherry butt. So Glentauchers is not the most well-known distillery. It's out in Speyside near Keith, and the majority of Glentauchers goes into blends. So Glentauchers has been around for a long time. It was founded in the 1890s and it was mothballed in the early 80s. And it started production again in 1992, but almost all of it has been going into Ballantine's, the blended Scotch whisky. A little bit of it was released as a single malt, but under the Ballantine's label. So if it all goes into blends, then how do we have it in front of us here today, Matthew?
Good question, John, good question. So what we are trying today is an independent bottle of Glentauchers. Now, independent bottles are something we were racking our brains and thinking, have we done one? And we have done some stuff from the Thompson brothers. And they are an independent bottler, but we've never done an independent bottle single cask before. So this is a very first for Drams Delivered. So what is an independent bottler? An independent bottler it's not a distillery, but what they do is they will buy casks of whisky. Now, independent bottlers, big famous ones include Gordon MacPhail, maybe Adelphi, but what we're trying today is something from an independent bottler called Chorlton. Now, they are based in Manchester and they buy whisky when it's ready. So an independent bottler has a choice. They can buy whisky at age 0 and they can mature it or leave it maturing in a warehouse for as long as they wish. They can buy a whisky 7 years old and they can bottle it or continue to mature it, or they can do what we've got in front of us now, which is what Chorlton do, and they will buy casks of whisky that they have sampled, they think are very tasty, they want to buy the cask and they want to bottle it now. And when Chorlton bottle it, they don't muck around. So they do no chill filtering, they don't add any water, they bottle it exactly how it is. So also at cask strength. So this is going to be quite a big dram for all of us. I think we're looking about 61, is it?
61.6, I believe. I'll just take a little look at the bottle. 61.1. So I believe this is the strongest whisky we've ever sent out to you guys.
Good times.
And as it's a single cask, there are only 610 bottles of this in the world. So it is an unusual one. We really like Chorlton and what they do. We love single cask, independently bottled whisky, simply because it's something that you might try once and then not have the opportunity to try again. So it's something a little bit special, something a bit different, and it gives you an insight into some of the distilleries like Glentauchers that you otherwise wouldn't be able to try.
Yeah. One thing that I thought when I first seen an independent bottle was, is it a fake or a cheaper version of an official bottling? We actually think the opposite, because it's the purest form of whisky from that distillery. It's not been chill filtered, watered down.
Yeah.
You know, if you think of the big names, they tend to release stuff at 40%, 43%, 46%, and that's great because it's readily available, but this is a one-of-a-kind, one cask from Glentauchers that we're going to try, so it's the purest form. So we think give independent bottlers a good chance. They have never let us down, really, have they?
No. Speaking of trying the whisky,
shall we?
Yeah.
I could see you're eager to go there.
Yeah. There we go. You ready?
I'm ready. Solid.
Great pop. Here we are.
Thank you very much. You're being very cautious with the amount you've given me there because it's so strong. Is that your plan?
That's it. We don't want you getting drunk now, Matthew. So let's have a wee nose. So Glentauchers has quite a sort of floral, light, fruity spirit. Relatively long fermentation times and a slow distillation.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's very light, but you can get a hit of the alcohol there on the nose. It is noticeable, yes. Not in a bad way, but you do realise there's something big in the glass here.
Yeah, and that's why we would recommend using quite a bit of water to add to this one. But as with all whiskies, we would recommend trying it first. So let's have a wee sip. yeah.
Oh,
There's a
warming.
fair amount of heat in that one.
In a good way though, that's.
Yeah.
So I describe whiskey like this as quite like chewy, because when you swallow it, you kind of go, because the flavours are just dancing on your tongue. It's big, and the alcohol helps that, but there's also a lot of flavour in that dram. But some of the lighter kind of, when you're talking about the light distillation and the floral kind of notes, I mean, I don't necessarily get that straight away because the alcohol is probably overpowering my palate. And that's where John says water is your friend here. So water can just open up your whiskey, soften your whiskey, and you can just get more of those light, delicate notes, because what we're trying to do with this whiskey is get as much flavour as we can from it. It's not about wincing our way through the alcohol. And another thing with single casks and independent bottlers like this, when you buy a bottle of this at 61%, you're kind of buying a bottle and a half.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
By the time you kind of add water to it and reduce it down to a strength that's comfortable for you, or you get the most flavour from, I mean, that bottle is going to last you a long time.
Yes, absolutely. Somebody once described cask strength whiskey like this to me. They said 60% is 50% more than 40%. So really it is, you know, as you just said, you're really getting a bottle and a half, or a dram and a half in this case.
I was trying to work that out in my head and I was like, I'm just going to stop trying.
Well, 60's more than 40.
Right, and 50's in between. Got you. I'll just stick to drinking it, I think.
But yeah, lovely notes. You're definitely getting a bit more of a sherry influence with a few drops of water. Lots of nice dried fruits.
That's lovely.
Really warming. I get sort of marmalade with that one. Nice orange marmalade.
Yeah, you're right. It's lovely. It's
with a slightly bitter finish.
I always notice with like cask strength as well in the glass, like it really clings to the glass. Like there's that lovely, like the legs are really sort of oily and they kind of really sort of stick to it. So yeah, just a really nice experience, and thanks to the guys at Chorlton as well who definitely helped us along with this bottle, because it's, as John said, it's 610 bottles in the world. So it was very kind of them to work alongside us and allocate us some of the stock, because this stuff sells out. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to get a bottle of this. Have a look and try, but the thing we're hoping this will do is kind of introduce you to independent bottlers. Keep an eye on the guys at Chorlton. They release stuff kind of every 3-4 months. They'll bring out some stuff. And yeah, they're a great bottler. So yeah, thanks to them as well.
Yeah. On that note, Slán Siva.
Yeah, Slán Siva. Hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, and we'll see you next month. Cheers.
Cheers.